Welcome, everybody, to the news segment. This is August 20th, 2021. My name is Ken. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are joining us, you are obviously listening to us live. We go live 7 p.m. Eastern, Fridays, betterondraft.tv or facebook.com/betterondraft. The news segment happens around 8 o'clock Eastern, so you can join us just for the news live to chat about the news. If not, obviously, you're listening to this via podcast or on our YouTube page. We appreciate you listening there. Don't forget to give us a like, subscribe, follow, give us a comment, 5 stars or more. We appreciate it very, very much. Going around the room real quick, I was too busy doing a bunch of other things and I forgot to get myself a beer. So right now I am still drinking the Axel Red that I opened up during the end of the last show.
Wait, what? You opened it a week ago?
No, during the
never mind. I was like, wait a minute.
I opened it up when we were talking. Danny brought up codifying beer and beer, how it is. If it's waiting so long, like staying at a store telling people, no, don't drink this. Well, I'm the one that decided to buy it. So I did go there maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and there was no more, even though there was some the last time I was there. So I don't know if the distro pulled it. But I know that the distributor of this beer was well aware after I mentioned it that it was still there. So I don't know if they pulled it or if they sold it. Hopefully they pulled it, because that wit was pretty bad. The red still didn't age too poorly, but I think that's what happened when it's probably been refrigerated, so it's been at a cool 40 degrees for the past 4 years straight. So let's go around real quick, find out what everybody is drinking. I already said I'm drinking the Axel Red. Wendy, what about you?
I have moved on to a PB&J Lee from Elk Brewing, one of my favorites. If I see it, I grab it.
I still cannot like that beer. I don't know what it is, but I just don't like the taste of it. I love the peanut butter stout or porter or whatever that is the base of it, but I just cannot do the jelly part.
Is it very noticeable, Wendy?
Yeah, it's got a good fruity flavor to it. I like it.
Like grape or what?
It's
grape jelly.
Yeah.
Grape?
Yeah. It's not like a super grape, but
yeah, it's good. I guess I don't want to say tolerable. It goes a little bit further than that, because I do enjoy the beer. It's just that if you're giving me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I prefer my jelly to be strawberry. So
me too.
True.
So
me too.
That's the way.
Yeah, grape jelly is terrible. I don't even know why they make it.
I don't even like peanut butter, but the Nutter Butter Stout, I can get behind that. And I don't like marshmallow either. That's weird, actually.
Well, Danny, what are you drinking, Danny?
Me, I have the Primavera Pilsner from Eastern Market, which also survived a week in our fridge without power. So it's a little sweeter than I remembered.
You say without power. Do you mean without power or without you drinking it because you had no power?
Without electricity at all.
Okay.
But also I forgot it was there. So.
See, I as far as that whole power thing, I had experienced that. As now, if you've experienced 7 days in the summer, I've experienced 7 days in the winter, losing power 3 years ago in February for 7 days. And it's an experience. It's definitely an experience. I would rather prefer it to be cold and be able to put blankets on than to be hot and just be kind of stuck with, that's as far as you can go.
So I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Because I get that you'd rather be able to put blankets on for you, but as a homeowner, being without power in the wintertime is dangerous because your pipes can freeze. Being without power in the summertime you just turn the power back on. So I've never understood that, because people in the HVAC industry, people lose their minds if their AC doesn't work, but they couldn't care less. They're like, okay, you coming next week? All right. When it comes to their furnace.
Yeah. Okay. We're
doesn't
Michigan.
make any sense to me.
We're Michiganders. Nothing makes sense. It's okay.
That's true.
Dan, what you drinking?
I switched over to a Tombstone Buck Nutty Nut Brown Ale.
That
Nice.
sounds delicious.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, Rob, what are you drinking? Well, I guess I got to hit the button because we got to figure
Wait.
out what you're chugging.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you chugging?
We did. I don't know if you heard. We did try to get Danny to chug.
Yes.
A couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Done it.
But here we go.
Here is Robert with the beer news.
Oh, I thought we were gonna have a race.
Look at this guy. Oh my god.
All right.
Yeah, you beat the sound by a few seconds. What was that you chugged?
Is this number 2? Go, Rob. Come on.
I mean, I was kind of mad because when I poured it, I realized it was a smaller glass. I was like, damn it. But what I poured, what I drank, it's from Listermann Brewing. It's called It's Not Even My Birthday. And it's a Berliner Weiss with pineapple, cherry, vanilla, cinnamon, and graham cracker. It clocks in at a rather mild 4.2%, but it is a very enjoyable Berliner Weiss. And I would say that Listermann definitely makes some very good adjunct stouts. But when it comes to some of these Berliner Weisses that they've been doing, especially when they've done their Haterade series with, fruit punch, grape, and orange Berliner Weisses that basically taste like Gatorade, obviously, and just calling it Haterade. And it actually says Berliner Weiss with whatever fruit and electrolytes. And they are some pretty tasty beers. So people get a chance to get out to Cincinnati. Place is basically right across the street from Xavier University. Go check out Listermann. They've got some good stuff.
Chugging a Berliner Weiss. I don't know about that.
So there is still the rest of that. And then on the side from Ferndale Project, I just picked up some Pisces Imperial Stout, which is a double chocolate Imperial Stout. So I'm sipping on that as well.
That's all right.
I
didn't hate it.
About Zodiac series. Sorry, I was waiting excitedly for the Leo because that's what I am. And the Leo just came out, and I love Ferndale Project, but it has coconut in it. That is not a Leo flavor. What are we doing here? First of all, Leo shouldn't be a stout. It should be a lager.
Oh my God. Scorpio was a chai. Seriously? Why would you put Dirty Feet in a Scorpio's beer?
Oh. Why would you put that in any beer?
Yeah, also.
I agree 100%. Chai is not anything that should come anywhere near anybody for consumption.
Yeah.
But
Chai is terrible. Just delete it from the planet.
I guess as an investor, I should bring that up to management. I'll do my best.
Oh, me too.
with the amounts that we get so far. It's still early, but I think we've since they just started doing the payments back. I've got enough to basically splurge at 5 and below.
All right.
It's a 5-year thing, so it's just going to take time, and we just started getting the payment. So,
have you gotten a payment yet?
2, I believe.
I haven't gotten anything yet.
It's we'll talk about it later. It's up there on Main Best.
It sounds like an offline conversation.
Yeah. As we say in the business world. So I guess the one that I was going to start off with, as far as the news, is that I was going to start talking about the great state of New Hampshire. Shout out to my friends, the Struther family out there who are living out there. But New Hampshire Governor Christopher Sununu signed a bill of alcoholic beverage reforms into law earlier this month. And quite a few, not quite a few, but there's definitely some changes that have been made where it's kind of some things where I guess this is kind of a New Hampshire thing, but, looking at it, it's like, why are you still having these archaic laws? But one of the things that they changed was on interstate and intrastate direct-to-consumer shipping. It was previously allowed by suppliers outside of the state to be able to ship beer directly to consumers. However, breweries that were within New Hampshire could not. So now that has been changed where breweries can apply for a free license to ship and deliver beer within the state with the limit of 27 gallons of product under 8% ABV per person per year. I guess it may depend on how much anybody is consuming, that they may hit 27 gallons for an entire year. I don't know. I don't know how. I mean, I would think with like, I guess I'm kind of looking at with the releases we have here with the Ferndale Project, even with the Zodiac series, you're talking 12 Zodiac signs. If people ordered a case of each of those, you're getting up there pretty quick. And then you start to go into anything else, you're breaking at 27 gallons.
Is it 27 gallons per person from each brewery?
That probably would be okay, because it just says 27 gallons of product under 8% per person per year. It doesn't say, at least from the article, it doesn't say that it encompasses every brewery within the state. So I guess I'd have to look at the law to see if that's the case. But I would imagine that we're just talking per brewery.
It's got to be. How do you track that otherwise?
I was going to say, that's got to be a bitch to track.
We can barely get
they're not. The individual breweries aren't tracking it very well. Like, think about that. Like, is some small brewery like, well, you bought 26 and a half gallons, I can't ship this to you. Like, no one's doing that. No. And no one's probably checking it either.
They can't even tell if I'm a Mug Club member or not, let alone how much beer I drank there.
I guess I'll have to take a look into the law to see how that's going to be done, because it is just as you say, is that, it just says there's a limit, but who's tracking it? How is it being tracked? I mean, are people who are buying these beers, strapped with an RFID card that basically they have to swipe so that they purchase the beer, and then suddenly it just shows, oh, you're out of tokens, no more beer for you. And I don't know how that's going to work. But I guess I was kind of curious with this piece, because I was looking at it just from trying to look at it from a Michigan perspective. And right now, and I believe, and Ken definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but suppliers can't ship direct to consumers here in Michigan.
Correct.
Right. But let's say if they could, knowing other desired out-of-state beers are out there and available, whether it be Tavour or Craft Tapped or whatever the other groups that are out there that could be shipping into the state, would something like being able to ship direct consumers in Michigan put places outside of the state, or put them on a level playing ground with everyone who is outside of the state trying to deliver and come in? Obviously, like I said, it's a huge hypothetical because we don't have either. But if, say, my love for Bottle Logic was being able to have Bottle Logic shipped from California out here, and suddenly, here comes these beers from, let's just say for some reason, Black Rocks couldn't distribute down to the Lower Peninsula, and I wanted to get Black Rocks down here. That'd be absolutely fucking crazy. But I mean, I'm going to go for the Bottle Logic because I absolutely love Bottle Logic, and they make really good stuff.
Why not use the Left Hand? Before Left Hand was distroed into the Lower Peninsula, they only distroed in the Upper Peninsula. Not Left Hand, Upper Hand.
I was going to say Left Hand. Good Denver brewery.
Wrong hand. Sorry. Jesus.
No.
It's I feel like we've had this discussion, and our webmaster actually didn't call me out, but brought up the discussion of what laws change and why laws change. And he says that if laws do not have a effect on jobs in the economy to a massive degree, that there's no reason to really get behind them or change them. Like, some of these laws that we want to change will not affect enough jobs for them to care. And it's, I get it. You only have a certain amount of time to pass a certain amount of laws for each, 2-year span. But in the same sense as the consumer, and we talked about it last week with Dr. Trey Malone on the Michigan series, I think episode 16, there's too many regulations that go from the brewer to my house, or brewer to the pint, or brewer to the bar, that we can definitely streamline, but we don't have the fighting power money to fix it, and we don't have the result that we want to make it easy. Like passing the drinking districts, that was easy. You needed it because restaurants needed the space. You know, the other one is you had Eastern Market Brewing trying to increase distribution, but they also had distributors on their side, Oath and M4. Like, they had a lot of power on different areas for them to be able to do that, along with Pauline Wenzel over in Waterleve, whatever. I still don't know how to say it.
Levite.
Waterleve, over on the west side of the state. Like, you need not only the people that want it, but a person to offer that change. And just like we had Michael Weber on the show, we had Pauline, like, to talk about it because they were passionate about those changes in laws. Nobody is passionate right now about changing intrastate distribution direct to customer. Nobody cares. And until we could find a group, money, power, and politicians, and all of them to care enough to get it through, because in my opinion, it's a no-brainer. I think we need direct-to-consumer, both shipping inside the state and outside the state. Follow within the laws of distribution, or if anything, allow distributors to ship direct-to-consumer. Because you know what? If insert Powers, or Oath, or M4, or Fabiano's like, oh, hey, I could sell a monthly subscription of some of these beers that are barely moving on shelf and get it direct to the consumer, and I can sell them a case a month or a 12-pack a month, and they're going to pay for the shipping. We already realized this with Tavor. They're going to eat all of that cost. They're going to do it. Is it going to create new jobs? No. You know, maybe a dozen. But there's just not enough people in the chain of command to care enough to do it, that it'll never get done in the state of Michigan. Unless, to be honest, we go to another lockdown. All bets are off if we do another lockdown here, because then you're not going to the brewers and the bars.
That might.
But I think at that point you're going to start seeing RTDs be able to be. And I think RTDs are able to be delivered with restaurants anyways. They can deliver cocktails and beer, but if I don't know, I'd want distillers to be able to ship direct to consumer. I mean, wineries can do it already, so why not everyone else?
Right. Danny, your thoughts?
I want to have Monkish come to me, so yes, I'm this. Whatever it takes. Yeah, I don't know if I'm ever going to get out to Alchemist. I would love to have Heady Topper.
I'm going there in a week.
You're not missing much, though.
No, don't tell me that.
I'll bring you some Heady Topper back since I'm going to the brewery in a week. But yeah, it's definitely. I mean, we still always have the caveat, and I still need to pull up that episode one day and re-listen to it. But we were drinking 18%ers from the brewery all night, and then blow your face out as it
was that the Heady Topper night.
Yeah,
that was the Heady Topper night.
Oh,
and we had a bottle of Black Tuesday from the brewery, and that was that year was a 20.5 ABV on that.
Yeah, so I think our palate may have been destroyed at that.
Don't worry, Danny, I missed out on that too.
Yeah, it was like 6 years ago almost.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I had some amazing beer in Chicago 2 weeks ago, and I miss it every day. I want to like go online and be like, I'll have it in a week. You know, there's no reason we shouldn't be able to do that. It's stupid.
I kind of feel like we should kind of have like Amazon warehouses where, you know, we have beer that's just being distributed from warehouse to warehouse. It's like, oh, hey, Detroit's buying more of this stuff. So it's like, all right, let's get those Amazon Prime trucks out there and start getting those beer in those places so that, you know, everybody's making money. So just a thought. Wendy, you're going to say something?
Well, so I started looking some stuff up when you started talking about the fact that the breweries in New Hampshire, they were allowed to get beer delivered from outside of the state, but not beer from inside of the state.
Right.
It would be awesome for us to have both. But in New Hampshire, the longest drive from border to border is 4 hours. So it takes us almost 7 hours to get from Detroit to Marquette. So it's a lot easier for them to travel within the state to get their beers.
Have you seen those trees out there? No.
But let's be honest. If I want to get a beer from City Built, I don't want to drive 3.5 hours to get there, 2.5 hours, whatever. I just want them to bring it to me.
Yeah.
Realistically, if the federal government would allow it and let the U.S. mail to do it without issue, they could just ship it to you. That's the easiest way to go about it instead of worrying about each individual state. If the government says, yeah, it's cool, you can mail beer, who cares?
And we would increase stuff at the post office, so we'd be helping them out.
All right.
That too.
And there's more than enough people that I think the term of the quarter right now is shipping candles as it is. So, I mean, why not? Why not figure out a way? And especially when there's always this talk about the Postal Service not making enough revenue, despite the fact that it's a portion of the government that it's not their job to fucking make revenue.
Yeah.
But if that's the big thing, here's something that's out here where people are, not legitimately shipping candles to one another, and we're making money for USPS. So why not figure out a way to do something?
I buy a lot of pickles.
Samples. Yeast samples.
Yeah, yeast samples.
Yeast samples. So there was another piece that was in there. Another thing, we'll just go through the second one and that's it, because I think there was a couple other pieces that were done. But one other thing that was in there was that there was a law where a consumer could only buy one case or one keg at a brewery per day. And now they have completely lifted that, and consumers can pretty much just buy as much at the brewery as the brewery is going to allow. Obviously, we have our breweries out here that have limits, but they are pretty much taking away all of the limits from the breweries, so that, essentially now the breweries are at a little bit more of a level playing field as the stores, because the stores didn't have that limit, apparently. It was just that at a brewery, you could only get one case or one keg. But if you went to like one of the state-run stores or any other liquor stores that were there in New Hampshire, you could just buy all the beer you wanted. And the one thing that I forgot about, because like I said, I have friends out there and I've visited out there, is that New Hampshire doesn't have a bottle return fee. So New Hampshire has a big draw on it, where people get to save money because they're not paying deposit on cans, and then obviously bringing that stuff home and kind of, in a way, I guess you could say turning a profit, but, I guess, 10 cents is 10 cents when it comes to 100 cans. But, they're bringing that home to, essentially make a little bit of money back. And so now all of these breweries are able to just sell whatever they want, how much ever they want, to whomever they want, and it can do that. And so it's kind of cool that they get to now have a little bit of a level playing field with the stores to do that. I mean, unless there's for some reason that you think that that it's not level, because I don't know, maybe from a production standpoint, whatever they have on hand as opposed to what they have to give to their distributors, I don't know. I guess I kind of leave that to y'all.
It reminds me of Alaska. Because when you go to a brewery in Alaska, you can only have, it's so many ounces, which basically turns out to be 2.5 pints when you're at a brewery. But you can walk down the street to the bar and buy a beer there. And as many beers as you want. They don't have a limit there. It's just at the breweries that they have the limit.
Isn't Utah's like that, right?
Utah doesn't have draft beer, or they might have just changed it. But you have to buy your beer at the state-run liquor store. If you buy the beer at the gas station or anywhere else, it's like, I think they upped it to 4% or 4.2%, but the ABV is really low.
Yeah, and I had a friend that she could order a beer with her dinner and one beer to go home. That was it when she was there to visit.
In Utah?
At the brewery, yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
Not a whole hell of a lot you can do with that.
No.
Their fun fact too, their DUI laws, they're 0.05 versus 0.08 for the rest of the country. So they'll pop you after like one beer. Yeah.
And that's just another reason why I am not going to Utah.
Yeah, good reason to stay out of that state.
Unless it's a layover. I've had layovers in Salt Lake City before, and just said, "Do I have to get off the plane? Because if this is the same plane, I'll just stay here.
I'll just stay. Yeah,
just give me a bag of peanuts. I'm good."
They at least used to have a Gordon beer there, but it was just bottled beer, so you could sit back and knock back your 12-ounce bottles of beer.
Yeah, no. All right, we got time for one more.
One more.
All right, then I'm going to go into this article I found on good old Eat This, Not That. I don't know if you guys have seen those books that have shown up, but they had a ranked list of the best and worst beer in America, which I'm a little annoyed with their list because it's like the first 10 that are on the list seem like they're the best beers, but it's kind of confusing because it makes it sound like these are actually like the best worst beers of the list because of how they put it on here. Because it's like, from 20 to 10, it's like those are okay beers. And they're like, wait, no, those are really okay beers. And then you get through 10 through 1, and it's just like, okay, yeah, I get that those are kind of shit beers. So it's a weird list. But basically, they came up with this list. It's 20 beers that's on here where they pretty much kind of rank these beers primarily by taste, being like one of the big factors, even though they still did consider sales volume, quality of ingredients, awards won, and other metrics. But it seemed like they were going off of taste. And of course, another thing that's on this list is that they did not consider any seasonal beers. So any of Dan's hated pumpkin beers they're not on this list. There's no Shipyard that's on here, so we won't have to worry about any of that. But very interesting, like with the top, I guess I guess now the bottom. I don't know. That's what I said, but this list is really weird. But at number 20, it starts with Dogfish Head 60 Minute, which it's and there's other things like 18 is Pliny the Elder, which that's kind of like, as far as IPAs are concerned, whether you like it or not, that's top 3 in the country. So it's very weird to see that on the list like that.
What's the worst beer?
That's what I'm saying, is that it's like, is it the best worst beer, or is it the best beer that's in front of the worst beer that's coming up on the list? So it's kind of like, to answer your question, yes.
That's awesome. Good explanation.
So some other ones that are on here, Sam Adams Boston Lager is at 16, Old Rasputin's at 15, and it says Stone IPA for 14, but I'm kind of reading that as Stone insert whatever name IPA, because for how many IPAs that Stone has, there's more than enough. Yingling at 12, Fat Tire 11, Guinness at 10. And then the list gets interesting, because at this point, I'm kind of treating this as, all right, these are the worst tasting beers that are in here. So from that point, it goes Budweiser at 9, Miller Lite 8, Bud Light at 7, for 6, Coors Light, Corona Extra at 5, Heineken is 4, Blue Moon is 3, number 2, Natural Light, and number 1, a Matt Staple Busch beer.
Yeah, those are the worst beers. Those are the worst tasting beers you just listed off.
So the Busch, it has on the list that it says, though the number 10 best-selling beer in America, according to USA Today, this beer, made with low-cost, low-quality ingredients such as corn and cereal malts, is routinely panned by reviewers. So, congrats.
I'm so confused, though, why we went from things like Stone IPA and Yingling to Busch and shit like that. Like
this is like what like confuses me. It's like, why are you making this list if you're not making a list of just like the 20 shittiest beers people have tasted as according to like Untapped, and instead you're throwing in things like Pliny the Elder,
Fat Tire,
Yingling, Old Rasputin. That has been like it's kind of like that desperate stout that I would go for if I absolutely
no
needed
other
a stout.
stouts.
There are no other stouts.
Been through that from experience here. The only stout.
I'm wearing a shirt right now with Rasputin on it. I love like
I have some in my cellar.
Yeah, it says give them full razzle dazzle. It's amazing.
It's good. I want a barrel age. I'll get the barrel age one. Actually, and there was another Sierra Nevada Pale Ale is at 17.
Was it?
So it's a very weird list, and I feel like, you know, for Eat This Not That they should kind of stick to the things to eat, and you know, or at least try to find some sort of consistency with their beer lists and what they're going to try and do in terms of, you know, what's bad, what's good, because it like I said, it makes some of the beers that have been on the top of everybody's list countrywide, makes it look like these are some of the worst beers, and
like they're on par with Natty Light.
Right. They put it in the same list as Natural Light, Heineken, Corona Extra, Blue Moon, and Busch.
I feel like whoever wrote this list was not a beer drinker at all.
Oh no, can't be.
Well, it's like, well, one, this is just almost feels like a clickbaity article, just like a list to put on a list just to get people to click it. But it's not as egregious, and I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to call it out just because of what it was. But there are, I saw it one place, and I know other places do it. But Fox News posted the top 20 craft breweries in the U.S. It was literally the top 20 by production. And it's not like they literally put as a brewery Canarchy. And I'm like, like, how do I know you did not care enough? Like, you literally copy and pasted, maybe did a little research. But like those are the types of articles that are just it's a literal waste of time. At least there is some thought given into it, because it's not the top 10 beers based on production, or the top 10 beers based on solely based on you know, sales, or the top 10 beers based on ratings or Zymergy, or like this is a list that I would have never come up with, and they did, and sure, more power to them, but it is clickbaity. I did have two Miller Lights yesterday. Signed up for the local Moose Lodge, and I was waiting for my sponsor to show up, and so I could sign up, because it was a local place. So I was trying to sign up last week, but we were out of power, or a lot of people were out of power, so everyone was at the Moose Lodge, and I'm like, I ain't in the mood to go through all this process while the two bartenders are swamped with people there because they can't go anywhere. Right. But I can't tell you the last time I had a beer in a chilled glass, and I'm like, wow, I can't taste anything in this beer.
Why did you have a Miller Lite? They have good stuff on tap.
So they had two Ipsy Ale House beers. One of them was a fruit beer. They also had like summer shandy, and I wasn't in the mood for a shandy or a fruit beer or it was basically yellow beers or those, and I'm like, there are times where I'm just not in the mood for.
I would just like to say one thing real quick, and it doesn't have anything to do with you guys, but Tommy, you got him. There you go. That was it.
Okay.
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up the news for, you know, this day August the 20th, the year of
That's
our
gonna-
Lord 2021.
That's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We are off next week. We will be back on the day before Labor Day, September 5th. That's going to be the next episode. We're doing 2 back-to-back Sunday afternoon episodes with guests. That's just why we're doing Sunday afternoons. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to all of our listeners in the chat, Larry and Tito. Again, you can join us live and chat with us live. We do pay attention to the chat for the most part. Stay tuned. We're going to do a quick King of the Hill with some beer IQ. I don't have to participate this week, which is nice because I got crushed the last 2 weeks. So that's going to do it no matter what you think of your beer. We think it's better on draft. Have a good night.
Get them kids ready for school, bitches. Peace.